There's one populist thing I want to talk to you about, and then one maybe leadership factor. The one is, I'm sure you've with a certain sense of humor looked at some of the YouTube videos that are out with graduation now. Anybody who uses the word AI is literally booed off stage. I think there was even one comedian who intentionally said AI several times just to rile the crowd.
Just to wind people up.
I think AI definitely, and I think it's good. I think it's a form of self regulation. I think AI with a young crowd really has a PR issue.
Sure.
Yeah. What's your take on that? What needs to happen so that well, because they're ultimately going to be the ones who decide whether we adopt or not.
Yeah. Oh, of course. They'll be the ones who decide if we adopt. They'll be the ones who decide how we adopt. I actually look at the generation that's graduating now as the group who's going to figure out the right answer for all of this. First, I'll start with the PR problem, and then where I find some hope. The PR problem is that the major AI companies have been out there saying that they're gonna make all of this money by replacing labor. That's not an attractive thing for people graduating. We have 5 kids.
I don't know how many $100,000 of debt.
Exactly. We have 5 kids. Only one of them is still now in college. We had the 4th one just graduated. They're all in this very difficult timeline of trying to find a job, trying to figure out their life, and they're in a tough economy in terms of new jobs for new graduates. And so anybody who comes along and says, my greatest thing is going to make sure that is going to cause 30% unemployment, of course they're going to get booed. They're idiots to actually stand up and say anything like that. So that narrative is changing slightly. It's interesting to see that, Dario Amodei at Anthropic has now come out and sort of shifted his tone about unemployment.
He's hanging out with the Pope.
As Helen and I said publicly, my take on that is that the investment bankers told him that he couldn't stop saying that he was going to crater the economy if he's trying to go public. I know the capital markets guys he's working with, because I used to work at Morgan Stanley long ago. This world is, you're not going to be very popular to investors. They're not going to want to buy your IPO if you're saying you're going to destroy the rest of the economy, because the rest of their portfolio is bigger than your stock. So I think there's a bit of a narrative change happening there. We hope that our work, 2 points of hope. One, we hope that our work actually shifts the way these products are designed, so that people who are trying to find jobs, who are trying to find their place in their careers, who are trying to recover from a layoff. Let's not forget that this is not just about new graduates. This is about mid and late career people who've been laid off and they're trying to figure out their next world. We hope that our work helps them understand how to use the tools, but also helps change the nature of the way these tools are designed, so that they will more naturally work for people, not against them. The last is, despite the fact that, I've had some pretty good, ideas about products over my life, it's most likely that the real breakthrough is going to come from somebody who's quite young. So I had a great conversation with a friend of ours, Chris Messina, who is at our summit, but that's not his most famous thing. He's actually the guy who created the hashtag for Twitter, right? And when we discussed this with him on our podcast a long time ago, I asked him where he thought the nugget would come from. The hashtag was this tiny little thing that totally opened up social media. Sync was the tiny little thing that made iTunes. Yeah, and the sync was the tiny little thing that connected iTunes to the iPod, completely blew open the whole idea of devices, right? And we used it across all the different devices. And I said, where do you think that's going to come from? He said, don't ask me. Ask somebody who's 14. Because that's where he was sort of paralleling how old he was at the time when the idea came up, right, later. So, and I think he's totally right about that this is something where someone who is currently quite young, who's going to come at this world from a much more of a native perspective, that's where it's going to come from. I hope that it's somebody who's older than 14 now, because I'd like the answer to come sooner, right? To have it work.
We need it sooner.
But I think we actually have to find a way for the younger people who are thinking more natively about this, who don't have the baggage of all of the way things have been done, who are going to show up and go, oh wait, I can figure out how this can work for us. Let me. That's where that great new thing is going to come from.